Here we go. We've got it on the old KME, and she's ready to put the old mirror polished edge on it. And it's just as easy as this. Thanks to the wondery of magic, we have got the mirror polished edge here, and you can see. Oh, let's just see here. Here we go. Thanks to the wondery of magic, mirror polished edge. And so what we are going to do now is see if we can get it a little bit better look at this. There we go. Let's see if we can take care of the rest of this now, which is taking off these scales, cleaning them all up, and hopefully making this thing look like $1,000,000. All right, welcome back, knife nerds and everyday care people. Through the magic of editing, we have got this knife now completely sharp. She is a mirror polished edge, and oh my goodness, it is sharp. This LMAX takes a wicked edge. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to have a look, and we're going to clean off these scales. As you can see, it's got some, just some oils. Whoever owned this, the picture looked like it was pretty new, and the oils are on there. So let's get rid of them, and we're going to be using a couple of products that, I used to work for a company that sold lots of eco products, eco degreasers, stuff like that, and they work really, really well. But we're going to try something that's a little bit closer to home. We'll end up trying Dawn dish detergent in a concentrated form. I got that at Costco. And the other thing I'm gonna try is called Worth spray. It's like Spray 9. So if you've got Spray 9, this eco-friendly spray is very, very similar to Spray 9. So those are two products that you could use. I think will work well cleaning off these scales. So let's head to the tabletop. Let's take this apart, and we'll get this ready for the scales to be all washed up. Now, I do believe this is probably going to be a T8 and probably T6 on the pivot's probably going to be a T8, and I'm going to say that the clip are probably T6. So let's just see here. So T8, how does that fit? T8's really good there, and let's check out the body screws. Sorry, the body screws T6, not the clip screws, because the clip screw looks like, yeah, there we go. So we've got ourselves some T8 and some T6. So let's make sure this is nice, and hopefully there's not a lot of, oh no, there's not, very easy. I was kind of wondering maybe there's going to be some thread locker on there, but it doesn't look like they use an abundance of any sort of thread locker, unless this has been apart and cleaned already and the person didn't put thread locker on it. And I'm kind of the mind, sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I mean, if it's going to be a real heavy, hard use knife, I'm going to put thread locker on it, because I don't want a screw coming off someplace in the middle of nowhere. But lots of times I only use a lot of my knives at a very short amount of time, so I aren't putting them through the paces, and it's just easy for me to make sure that they are tightened up all the time. All right, this seems to be spinning free. There we go. Let's see that one there. See if it spins free a little bit more. Yeah, that one's kind of in there good. So let's perhaps take that down, and let's try this here. Don't want to strip anything. That's the worst thing in the world, is to strip a screw, and it does seem to be kind of a little bit slippy in there. Oh, no, it is a T8. Let's just see here. Let's try this one first. Yeah, that coming right off, no problem. I don't get that. So that is your screw for your clip. There we go. Wire clips out of there. You can see kind of what the original color was. Here, let's try this side now. Yeah, I guess maybe that's got a D-shaped on the other side there. Let's try the rest of these body screws. There might have been I might have been trying to crank against a D shape and starting to strip it out a little bit, but oof, hopefully I didn't do too much damage to it. Yeah, these are all coming out really easily. So what we'll end up doing is once we've got these all taken out, I'm going to take it to use some hot water in the washroom in this little bucket, and we will, not bucket, just a little tub. There we go. This is one. Ah, look at that popped off. You can see the original color. Oh my goodness, what a difference. You can tell it definitely needs to be cleaned up. All right, what's next here? Oh, what fell out? It looks like the stop pin fell out. It looks like another stop pin fell out. And let's try this other screw here. All right, let's pop that off. She's kind of slowly breaking apart here with, there we go. Here happens to be, and these mats here, these are actually called a soldering mat. They work so well for this type of stuff, for taking apart knives. Let's just see it. Oh yeah, it is not a twist. There we go. So it looks like, yeah, that can go right there. So, and here we go. Looks like, yeah, there you go. One. There we go. What do we got inside here? Here's a groove, very groovy. Here's 1, 2. Oh, there we go. And then you can see this is a really interesting design. The way that these things kind of all settled in there. I am very, very, very neat. I got these pins in there. So, wow. All right. So, look at that. They even got the Vox Ansno made in Italy Elmax on the inside. You can see here. All right. So, let's clean this up a little bit. Some of these things, we'll put these aside. We'll make sure that there are no pins inside here that we can lose or anything like that. Oh goodness. That just did not want to get away. So we're going to clean these scales up, but in the meantime, let's clean up the rest of this stuff. And what I use a lot of times is, excuse me, I'm just going to cut. I'm just going to cut here and cough a little bit. And here, so this is actually just a Windex bottle. And so what is actually in here is, there's only about a third of it left Windex. The rest is a tiny bit of dish soap, as well as a about 3/4 of, or say 2/3, 90% alcohol. So that's what's in my little Windex bottle. And the reason I like this one is you can just take a pad, push it on top, and it just moistens your pad and you're ready to clean. So that's what I end up using. And you've got, you know, just this stuff here. You just press onto it and it's ready to clean. And you can clean up your pivot. So, all right, so we're going to come to a little bit of a close here, and when we get back, we are going to be cleaning up these scales here, because everybody's seen, you know, lots of times, you know, clean up all this stuff. So let's we're gonna just cut off from there, and we'll be back with cleaning up the scales. All right, and we've made ourselves over to the washroom, and now we have got our little bit of a scrub brush here. We've got our container we want to soak our scales in. We've got this product here called Eco Super Spray All. That's what it's called. It's not called Worth Spray, but it's Eco Super Spray All. And we've also got some Dawn Ultra Platinum, 4 times faster getting grease. Now, this here is equivalent. You can get Super Spray All, or not Super Spray All, Spray 9, very, very similar, and hopefully it's just a little bit of extra degreasing on it. So we want to just get some really crazy hot water here. I've been running that for a bit, and then we just want to spray kind of pre-treat our scales and see how they react. Now, there is no little pins or anything in there, so I've left the sink open. If there was any sort of things that are ready to fall down, I probably would have, cranked the sink. But so let's just spray it on here, and we'll just kind of give them a little bit of a spray treat. And you can see just a little bit of water, not a whole lot. We just wanted to kind of, now just a little bit of Dawn, and give that a little bit of a mix up. And let's kind of drop that in here. Let's just see what happens. We want to just give them a little bit of a scrub. I'm going to take off my Apple Watch here, so I hate banging it around. And that's all we're doing, is just giving a really good scrub inside and out, and we'll see how much of the oils come out. And a lot of it we won't be able to tell until it's actually dried, because when you get micarta wet like this, it actually seems to darken up. So you can see even the inside, it's nice and dark. And we'll see where we kind of made it out here. So I'll give it a scrub, and give it some hot water, and we're just gonna let it put a little bit more Dawn dish soap in there, not a lot. Give it a little bit of an agitation, and I'm gonna give it probably a good half an hour to soak. I want it to stay hot, so I'm going to add some more water in there. So I want to soak it a good half an hour, and when I come back, we will rinse it off, and then we'll dry it off, and we'll see what happens to the scales from there. Now let's have a look here. Well, you can see that some water splashed up there, and it's pretty yucky. The scales themselves, they feel like they've got their grippage back. On scales, micarta scales, lots of times when they get wet, they get grippy again. And these ones seemed like they had so much kind of oil in them that they weren't getting grippy at all. They were, just seemed like they're getting slick. And so now, you can't, I don't know if you can hear that, listen. They seem like they've got their gripitude back. So now they're still dark because they're wet. Let's see what they look like when they're all nice and dry. All right, I decided that I wasn't going to keep these stock, and I decided I was going to dye them actually blue. So I thought I would use this RIT dye here. So this is my little kind of throw together dye station. As you can see, these came out wonderfully. They look like they are brand new. It's actually quite a decent color. But we're going to see what happens here when we dye these blue. So my little, I like doing this way in this kind of container rather than doing it on the stove. I just think it gets a little too messy when you've got things boiling. Now you don't have to have this RIT dye boiling hot. You do have to have it quite hot to penetrate. And so what I end up doing is I end up using enough water, dye, and a splash of just plain old white vinegar here, just to cover up the scales. So I'm only going to make about that much liquid in there. That way you can save yourself some dye, because I think when you use really big containers of the dye, the pots on the stove, you have the opportunity of spilling and just using too much, and it just seems like it's a waste, because this dye, after it's done, it just goes down the drain. So I'm going to get my little concoction ready. I'm going to pull it out of the microwave, and we will dye these scales. So through magic, we're going to have our stuff ready to go. All right. So this is now been all mixed up. So what I ended up doing was, let's just see, probably about, I'm going to say 2 cups of water. I'm going to say 1/4 cup of vinegar. And then I'm going to say probably a 1/4 cup of Rit dye. Or not, let's say less, 1/3 cup of Rit dye, 1/4 cup of Rit dye. And now we'll dump it in and we'll just try it out for 1 minute. Here we go. Now, if we like the color that it is after 1 minute, then we'll rinse it off. If I want it a little bit deeper, then I will put it in for another minute. And then once you kind of rinse it off with cold water, that seems to be the way that it kind of locks it in. I think the other thing that you could add to, sometimes if you've got something that's hard to dye or doesn't accept dye, lock it in. I've heard salt inside your concoction will also lock it in, but I've never really had any problems dyeing my micarta. Micarta seems to be a real porous material, seems to take color really, really well, and we'll see what happens to this one. So she's pretty darn close to a minute. She's looking like, oh, here we go, 1 minute. As you can see, it seems like it's really dark. So let's rinse it off. And we will see what the color looks like once it dries. And I should be using gloves, but I broke my glove here. So. All right, so just rinse it off a little bit. And, you know, there's so little there. I was kind of hated to kind of throw that stuff away, but what I ended up doing now is I just dump her down the drain and I run water right through it. And yeah, I think these are going to turn out all right. So they're not completely dry yet. I'm pretty satisfied with how dark they are. So for now, we'll head to the tabletop and we'll assemble this. The next time you see this knife, it should be all assembled, ready to go with what the actual color is. With some magic, we are back together here. We ended up dyeing this. And what do you think so far? I tried to dye it blue. It ended up going purple, but I still think it turned out all right. I had to do a little bit of lubing up there, of course. I soaked most of the hardware inside in a parts washing solution that got all the grease right off, so she's squeaky clean. So now it looks like it might patina and get a little bit darker purple here, almost to maybe a black. I'm really surprised that it turned out this color. I thought it was gonna go with a dark blue. That was what I was kind of shooting for. But you know what? I'm not dissatisfied with the look. So far, it's smooth like butter. It's opening like nobody's business. This Elmax is taking a wicked edge. Tell me what you think, guys. Do you think that this was an all right use of my time? So she's gone from we'll try to see if we can get a snapshot of what it looked like before, and we'll see what it looks like now. But yeah, there we go. So I'm going to carry this for the next little bit. I'll come at you probably next couple weeks here with a review. But so far, I'm loving this knife. I think it's a gorgeous, and I'm loving it like nobody's business. So there we go. Please stay safe out there. Keep your stick on the ice. The shiny side up. This is the Big Canucker saying adios.